All right, today we're going to peek behind the curtain at an insurance company, right into its financial heart, to figure out how they can guarantee they'll be able to pay a claim that might not happen for decades. Think of it as their master plan for saving for a truly epic rainy day.
So let's kick things off with a little puzzle. It's something every single life insurance company has to solve. You pay this nice, steady, predictable premium, right? But the actual risk, the chance of a claim, goes up as you get older. So how can a flat payment possibly cover a cost that's always rising? It seems like it shouldn't work.
And that puzzle brings us right to the core challenge for insurers. It's this fundamental mismatch between the money coming in and the money that someday is definitely going to have to go out.
Let's break it down. On one side, you've got your premiums. They're designed to be easy and predictable, the same amount year after year. But on the other side, you've got the actual cost of your risk, which, especially for life insurance, is on a steady upward climb every single year you get older. So look at the early years of a policy. That flat premium you're paying is actually higher than the expected cost for someone your age. This means the insurance company is collecting more than it needs to cover you, creating a nice little surplus. But then, the tables completely turn. Later in life, that same premium you've always paid is now way, way below what it actually costs to insure you. Now there's a shortfall, a big one. So if the company is effectively losing money on you every year, how on earth do they make up the difference and stay in business?
Well, they solve this massive problem with a really powerful and legally required financial tool called reserves. A reserve is, for all intents and purposes, a giant, highly regulated savings account. It's this huge pot of money that an insurer is required by law to build up for one reason and one reason only, to guarantee it can keep its future promises to you, the policyholder.
This quote absolutely nails the strategy. That extra money from the early years, it doesn't just get spent or booked as profit. No way. It gets set aside, invested, and grown over time, specifically to build a fund that will be there to cover that deficit that they know is coming down the road.
And let me be clear, this isn't just some clever accounting trick. This is the bedrock of the entire industry's stability. Getting this reserve calculation right is literally what keeps an insurance company from going bankrupt and makes sure the money is there when your family needs it most. Okay, so we get it. They need this giant savings account. But how in the world do they know the exact amount to put in it? Well, the folks who do this, actuaries, have two main ways of tackling this. The first one is all about looking forward into the future. This is called the prospective reserve. The name says it all. It's a prospect, a forward-looking estimate. It basically asks a simple question. If we start from today, what's the total value of all the promises we've made versus the value of all the payments we expect to get? The thinking here is actually pretty straightforward. Step one, you figure out the value in today's money of everything you're going to have to pay out in the future. Claims, expenses, the whole shebang. Step two, you calculate the value in today's money of all the premiums you expect to collect from now on. The gap between those two numbers, that's your prospective reserve. That's what you need in the bank today. So that's one way to do it, by basically staring into a financial crystal ball. But there is a completely different approach you can take. And this one involves looking not to the future, but back into the past. And this, not surprisingly, is called the retrospective reserve. Instead of guessing the future, this method calculates what the insurer's pot of money for your specific policy should be right now, based on everything that has happened since day one. The logic here is also really direct. You take everything that's come in, so all the premiums you've paid so far, and you let them grow with the interest they've earned. Then you just subtract the total cost of all the claims and expenses paid out so far. Whatever's left over, that's your retrospective reserve. So now we have two totally different ways to calculate the very same number. One is a forecast, a guess about the future. The other is a historical accounting, a reconstruction of the past. Which brings us to the big question, right? Does a forward-looking guess give you a different answer than a backward-looking calculation? And this is where things get really elegant. It's almost like a magic trick, because if all the underlying assumptions are consistent, the answer is no. They give you the exact same number, down to the penny. The future projection perfectly matches the past accumulation. It's pretty cool. But you knew there was a catch, didn't you? This perfect mathematical balance only works if the core assumptions, things like interest rates, how long people are expected to live, are the exact same ones used for both the reserve calculation and for setting the original price of the policy in the first place. Of course, in the real world, things are a lot messier. The future never plays out exactly how you plan it. Interest rates go wild, people start living longer than anyone expected, and costs change. And dealing with all these shifting assumptions is what makes managing reserves such an incredible and constant challenge. So when it all comes down to it, a reserve is so much more than a number on a spreadsheet. It's a promise to pay. Which leaves us with one final and really important question to chew on. Since predictions about the future are rarely perfect, what happens when an insurer's best guess turns out to be wrong?